Okay guys, we've decided to make some tacos, and I've actually got some hare that I got not long ago on a hunting trip. Very underrated meat. I've used it a few times now and it comes up very nice. Probably the closest thing you could resemble would be veal, and yeah, it's very good eating. So what we're going to do is, basically a Mexican style crumb on the hare, and then we'll put that into some basically some wraps with our own taco seasoning mix that we're going to make as well. So first of all, with the hare, because it is a gamier meat, I find it better to bone it out and then also soak it overnight in buttermilk. Now you don't have to actually buy buttermilk, you can actually make your own. All it is basically a cup of milk to a teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar, and basically that gives you the same thing as the buttermilk that you can buy. So once I've soaked it overnight in the buttermilk, all I do is just drain it all off, and then these are thighs, so any sinew or anything like that I get, I'll actually trim all that off it, so that way once it's all trimmed and there's no sinew, it'll be a lot tender again. So So basically any sinew meat, it's almost like skinning a fish really, like most of the sinew will come off. So as you can see, there's no sinew left on that anymore. And all I'll do is just dice it into strips or chunks or however you want it. Because we are going to deep fry this once we crumb it, so you don't want too big a pieces because then the crumbs will actually burn before it cooks. And as you can see, there's very little on that now. That's just basically just sinew. Just trim it up. Now try and keep all the pieces relatively even if you can, that way they'll all cook at the same rate. Sometimes I'd rather waste a little bit and then have a much better product at the end than trying to salvage like the sinew and all that sort of stuff. Unless you've got to mince it, there's not much point trying to keep it. Now with this recipe too that we're doing today, you could use any sort of meat. Like, it's just, I'm right into my hunting and I like my game meat, and I'm a firm believer of not just hunting things for just the sake of hunting them. I do it for a purpose, and that's because I like to eat it basically. So that's basically out of all that. That's the only bit of waste that I had on those two thigh fillets that I had, which is pretty good. So next up, I'm just going to make my crumbs for the actual coating, and then Karen will make the taco seasoning from scratch, which a lot of these spices and that we're using, most of them you do generally have on hand, so it's not very hard to make your own taco seasoning, and you can use that for just normal standard tacos, or yeah, if you come up with another idea you want to do. Now the crumb mix I'm doing today, basically just bread, crust, because it's a bit drier, probably works really well for a fresh crumb. So I'm just going to break a couple pieces up of bread in here. And I'll have my trusty little stick blender in this attachment. I mean, you could use any crumb. You can just buy a crumb, or a panko crumb is probably the best, but I mean, most people have just got a bit of bread sitting around, so you can just make it with just straight bread if you want to. So just give that a good blitz. You can see that's a pretty nice sort of crumb. I'll just put that in there for the time being, because we're also going to use, which a lot of people also have, good old cornflakes. Now that'll give it a nice crunched feel to the crumbs. So I generally use about probably equal amounts of bread crumb to cornflake crumb, but that's just a rough estimate. You don't have to use equal amounts. You could just use even all cornflake crumbs if you want to. So I'll just give that a little bit of so I'll just do a bit more. You're better off doing it by little amounts to start with. Just so it will, like, it'll blitz it better in the processor. If you have too much, it takes a bit to actually blitz it. So as you can see, it's just not overly fine, but still fairly fine. So basically that's our crumb mix made. Clean up this. And what we'll do now is Carolyn will make her taco seasoning mix, which we're going to, instead of using normal flour, when you crumb something, you generally do like a flour and egg wash, then crumbs. But what we'll do is we'll actually use the taco seasoning as the flour mix, but we'll use about 50-50 ratio of 50% flour to about 50% of the taco seasoning. It can be a bit more taco seasoning, and then we'll use that as our flour base before we egg wash and then crumb. So
you can actually just go to the shops and buy taco seasoning if you want that Mexican taste, but I just find that I always have a whole lot of spices in my cupboard, and everything that goes into taco seasoning is actually in my cupboard all the time. So rather than actually buying the taco seasoning, I like to use these up, because once they've been opened, some of them, once they get the air into them and moisture, they actually go quite hard, and then they're unusable and you end up throwing them out. So I just like to use these rather than actually buying pre-made mixes. But by all means, a taco seasoning is nice and quick and easy. But what we do to this is just like, I actually just grabbed a whole heap of spices out of the cupboard, to be honest. But a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of cumin, we've got half a teaspoon of turmeric, or roughly anyway, half a teaspoon of coriander. Now your most common, your taco seasoning is paprika, cumin, chili powder, and I might as well put all of that in. That'll empty the coriander. And garlic and onion powder with salt and pepper anyway, so I've just added a few extra. I'm adding a little bit of curry powder and the turmeric to it as well.
Your basic taste of the taco seasoning will be very similar.
Yeah, so chilies again. This is a hot chili ground, but as much as you like. If you're not really into chili, put 1/4 of a teaspoon. I use about 3/4 of a teaspoon. A teaspoon of curry powder. And now salt and pepper. I don't go too hard on the salt. I feel like salt you can add a little bit more at the end if you want to, but I do add quite a bit of pepper.
And the garlic.
Oh. Alright, pepper, and then I've got onion and garlic powder. Now these are actually solid, so
they don't take long. The slightest bit of moisture around in the air, humidity, they'll always go hard. You pretty much can't stop it.
So basically I'm just breaking a piece off. And yes, I am putting it on the chopping board. The hair's not worrying me. A lot of people will go, ooh, cross-contamination, but I'm rolling this in. The whole lot of this is getting used in the hair, so.
And it will all be cooked, so.
And it'll be all cooked, so I'm not really worried about being on the same chopping board just at the moment. So basically, if I don't chop this up, because I'm not dissolving it in a water or a liquid, it'll just stay lumpy and really hard. So I'm just giving it a quick chop, just so it breaks back down into a powder. Right, that's my basic seasoning. Just give that a stir, and we're just going to add this in with the flour, and then Robert's ready to crumb. So,
I find it just as easy, especially when they're in the van. We don't have a lot of water, so you don't want to be washing up heaps of stuff and things like that. Sometimes we'll just use a Ziploc bag to crumb or flour our things in. That way you just roll that up and throw it in the bin. Ideally, we try not to use it too much, because obviously it's not good to keep using plastic. So that's basically our taco seasoning with the flour. Just give that a bit of a mix. Just give those a bit of a mix. So basically, just a standard egg wash. You don't always have to use egg either. You can use milk if you're using flour, and that egg just helps bind it a bit better. Just a bit of milk. Okay. Just add this a little bit. So basically, just like crumbing anything, basically, we're just going to get our pieces and we're going to flour it. So I generally just put a few pieces in there. Just seal the bag a little bit and then just give it a good toss around. And then what we're going to do is egg wash these. But to get a nice coating of that flour mixture on there, I'm actually going to double coat them. So put them in the egg wash first. Before, like, flour it, put it in the egg wash, and then it's going to go back into our flour mix again, and that just helps give it even like that extra bit of flour on there, more seasoning. Okay, so I'll keep going and crumbing all these, and then we'll be right back, and Carolyn can show you the salsa that we're going to make to go with the tacos, and yeah, we'll cook some of these up. Can I have a plate, please, Carol? Since I use this one.
Right, so while Robert's got the oil heating, I'm just going to chop up the salsa. Because, you know, this plastic table must have a little bit of a bow in it, my chopping board slides around, so all I do is just wet a bit of a chucks cloth, even a tea towel or couple of layers of paper towel will do. But I just wet it and just put it underneath, and if it's in the right spot, there.
That's better.
So it just stops it from moving. Condiments for the tacos. I've just got some grated cheese in one bowl. I'm going to shred some lettuce into another bowl, and then I'm going to make a 4-bean salsa. Normally I'd whack that to bring the core out, but it's like level, so nothing's going to crack. So I'm just going to cut some lettuce off. Right. Just shred it nice and thin. Well, chop it however you like. I like it nice and thin. Right, into a bowl. There's only 3 of us tonight, so that's heaps of lettuce. Right, now onto the salsa. My 4-bean salsa. I've actually got a tin of 4-bean mix. Because there is only 3 of us, I'm only using half the tin. The rest of the tin I usually just put in a little Ziploc bag or container and freeze it or eat it over the next few days. I've just strained it already. About half the tin. And into that I'm adding half a salad onion. So salad onion, just finely dice it. This recipe I kind of just made up. Not sure if there's one out there for a 4-bean salsa, but I always like a tropical salsa, which my main ingredients in that is onion, tomato, avocado, and usually like a fruit like mango or pineapple. So I just substituted it out for 4-bean mix, really, like the fruit. And it's really nice, it goes well with the tacos. Okay, into that also is half an avocado. Just dice it up as well. And half an onion. Oh, no, that's a tomato. I know my vegetables. Right, we're going to give that a quick mix and add a little bit of salt and pepper. And that is actually the salsa all done. So I'm not sure how hot Robert's oil is over there and if it's ready to go.
Not too far off it.
Alright, just give that a stir.
And this salsa would be even nice with a bit of fish or calamari or anything like that too as a salad.
Right, so that's our 4-bean salsa done. Might just... We're all family here, right? Needs a bit more salt and pepper.
Camera lady's not supposed to have any yet.
Right, I think more pepper's going to the side of me than it is actually going in the bowl because we have the wind blowing, but that's okay. Right. That's better. All good.
Righto, the oils should be hot enough, so we'll start just cooking off a few of these. I feel like it's hot enough. Not too sure, just grab a bit of crumb or something like that and just drop in there, and you'll soon see that that oil's hot enough. That's starting to spin it around, bubble it, so that's quite enough now. So basically just gonna drop these in. I try not to overload the pan too much because you don't want to lose all that heat straight away. Otherwise it'll lose its heat and just suck up the oil. So just put a good handful in there to start with. And we will put this recipe down in the description as well. So if you want to, like I said, if you obviously, unless you can go hunting, or you could use rabbit as well, which you can buy from certain butchers. But this will go well with any sort of meat, whether it's chicken or just your normal beef. So basically, once they're a nice golden colour, put on a bit of paper towel or wire rack just to get some of that oil off. As you know, our daughter's with us at the moment, so this will be the first time she's actually tried hare, so it'll be interesting to see what her thoughts are on it.
Are you sure it's the first time?
Yes, it's the first time.
Didn't we make apricot hare?
No,
Rabbit.
rabbit. I'm also a big one for utilising game meats that we have here in Australia. There's quite a few different game meats that just aren't used, basically never. Hare, you really don't see that you're getting used. Rabbit, you see it getting used in a few recipes, but I love me hunting, so whatever I get, whether it be rabbit, wild pork, deer, hare, obviously when we're fishing as well, so we like to use what we get and try and turn it into something different. So I'll keep going ahead and cooking a few more of these, and then we'll, once we're sort of pretty much cooked it all, we'll start assembling our soft shell tacos.
Not dressed for fame.
Okay, so this is Tanisha's first time actually trying hare, so it'll be interesting to see whether she spits it out and runs away or likes it.
It's crunchy.
Descriptive.
Crunchy.
Is it? Would you think that was a game meat, or would you think that was like a veal or a cross between a veal and a chicken?
I'd go veal. It's not that strong.
Yeah, hare is a very red meat compared to rabbit. Rabbit's very white like chicken, whereas hare is a lot darker.
I think that'd be a good one if you don't like game meat, because it's not really strong.
Yeah.
And then the seasoning as well.
Once again, if you don't like gamey flavours, soak it in that buttermilk, and it makes the world of difference
And boning.
for tenderness and to take that gamey flavour away. So also bone it out. Don't cook it with the bone in, because the bones will actually give you more of that gamey flavour. Whether that doesn't matter if it's hare or rabbit. So obviously it must be all right.
Right, I'm going to build my taco. So I just got soft tortilla wraps. Oh, Julie, that was a lot of sauce. A little bit of sour cream on the bottom. A little bit of lettuce. Grated cheese.
What's that?
No. That's just rude. Okay, a couple
Really good.
pieces of the hare, and top it with the salsa. And I'm actually topping it with a bit of the sweet chili sauce. we actually bought when we were down at the Barossa Valley having a look around. These guys are Relish the Barossa. They're not somewhere you can go and look at. They're actually a manufacturing processing factory, I should say. But they do have a lot of stockists around this area. So if you actually see a label Relish the Barossa, check them out. They've actually got some really good sauces. They've got sauces, chutneys, pasta sauces. So they make a whole range of things. And this sweet chilli sauce is actually quite tasty. So I'm just adding that to my tortilla.
And the
If you can get it on the tortilla.
Taco, soft taco. And, you know, there it is. It is good.